Jupiter is going to transit through the tropical sign of Gemini until June 2025. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, spirituality, and abundance. It's also known as the guru, and this spiritual teacher is inside all of us. The sign that Jupiter is transiting through is expanded, and we get more of it, both the positives and the negatives. So you can read the comments below the video to find out the themes of this transit for your sign. The last time that we had this transit was in 2012. So you might want to take a look back at your life then and see what was going on, as you may experience similar themes this time around. So Jupiter is in the detriment in Gemini using the traditional essential dignities. He's not comfortable in this sign. We may see more of the shadow side of Gemini, such as fickleness, two-facedness, mimicry, gossips, or even theft. So we could also find it a little bit more difficult to focus on our goals, and we may get more distracted easily. This transit may increase anxiety in some people due to the increased stimulation of the mind. On the positive side, it's a great time for writing, learning another language, and the overall expansion of our minds, including rationality and logic. We may become more flexible and open-minded during this transit. For some people, an entirely new life can be forged, which is very different from the original plans that we started with. Social interactions are expanded, and we tend to form connections with local people or people that are on the same wavelength as us. Many famous writers were born under Jupiter in Gemini, and many people will feel called to write a book, write articles, or other pieces of work. So sharing information and ideas is going to become more important to us. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is a psychopomp, which is a god or a being that guides souls from Earth into the afterlife. So there's a connection there with psychic abilities, mediumship abilities, and we may find that those qualities could increase for some of us during the transit. The spirit world is definitely going to be more visible for the next year, and this can be uncomfortable for some people. You might want to make sure that you have some good psychic protection around you. This is definitely going to be needed for the next year. It's also a great time to work on our spiritual paths, as it is easier to communicate with the other worlds. So Jupiter makes a square, which is a difficult aspect in astrology, to Saturn in Pisces a couple of times this year. This symbolizes the breakdown of boundaries and borders. Boundaries, your own personal boundaries, are going to be extremely important, and you want to make sure that they're strong. So we could also experience some air travel problems or some type of restrictions. There can be a lack of planning, and this would be something that we might need to work on, is to double check your plans, because you can get distracted and make mistakes more easily. So the square with Saturn in Pisces happens on August the 19th and December 4th. And we could get information around that time that really shatters our illusions about the world and our personal lives. Finally, using astrometeorology, which is making weather predictions using astrology, which goes way back to the Hellenistic times of Greece, Jupiter in Gemini can bring massive fluctuations with the weather. Temperatures tend to be colder than average because Gemini is an air sign. We could experience more extreme weather connected to wind, but also water. As Saturn is in Pisces for the duration of this transit, Wetter and colder weather is more likely.